Hello, welcome back. Quick video. I'm doing a light upgrade for one of my customers, Gordon. Just thought I'd show you a before and after, or in other words, I've done one side and not the other. I'll show you what we're putting on. I've used these for years, hence I recommend it to him. That's what he had in, getting a bit black actually, just your standard bulb. I've obviously opened these packages. We've got the OSRAM, 4-year guarantee. It says on here, like, you know, like the drive, not for... They've got the state off-road use, but you'll see what I mean. They're perfectly reasonable. But again, remember, OSRAM are what most cars leave the factory with brand new, so you're getting an OE equivalent upgraded bulb, so you can't complain. Also, what we're fitting are the night breakers. I just have to be careful with this because I've got the bulb sitting on it. On there. Obviously, there, your H4, obviously an H4 bulb, just in case you don't know, it does your high beam and your dip beam. And obviously, the night breaker lasers, up to 150 times brighter. You know, you've got to take these with a pinch of salt. Up to 150 meters extra and up to 20% extra life on them. So obviously that's, you know, something that you want. Just to show you really like what they look like close up to a normal bulb. We've all seen a normal H4 bulb, 2 filaments, high beam, low beam, and you've got your upgraded one, which has got like a cut through glass. It's even got it like stamped into it, night breaker. They've got a much more reflective bowl inside of them, which obviously reflects the light down. Just generally a far better upgraded bulb, probably with xenon gas or something like that inside of them, rather than your standard halogens. So they don't cost a great deal. I just thought I'd show you a before and after. I'll switch the lights off in the garage so that you get a bit better idea. I'll show you the side lights. I'll just nip into the car, or Gordon will. So just the side lights first. That's it. So obviously, as you can see there, you've got your standard old candle style bulb at this side. And there, like I've mentioned to Gordon, that's as if you're just on dull conditions, like today, hence the doors are closed, put them on, and it's, you know, it's a 13-plate car. It looks a bit like daylight running DRLs. So you just put your side lights on, and they've got that look of a DRL. And obviously put the dip beam on. You can just see there by the camera, I mean, just missing the little bits at the top. That is a lot more cleaner, crisper white light. And again, if you flash the high beams, these bulbs as well. So there you go. You can see. So you get a much better, that's the only good thing with it. That's it, fine, Gordon, you can knock them off, save your battery. With an H4 bulb, you're kind of getting 2 bulbs in one. So you get an improved high beam, improved dip beam, out of one bulb. So yeah, just thought I'd show you that again on a Nissan Note. They're not too bad to do whatsoever, but some cars are more difficult. Just thought I would add that one into the weekly vlogs. Any questions, any links, let us know, or just rewind back on the video and you'll see what I've got. Just some of them though, with the LED one. If it's a newer car, you can set fault codes up with these. You won't with halogen bulbs if you're sticking with halogen bulbs, but fitting LEDs to some cars with CAN bus systems, which these don't have, you may set a light warning light up. You have to get the ones with the CAN bus free built in them, like a resistor. So I'll catch you tomorrow on Thursday's vlog. Hello guys, and welcome back to Thursday's vlog. And as you can see behind us, that looks absolutely beautiful, which it is. Complete contrast from yesterday, which was storming by the time I got home. I still managed to walk the dogs home. I got wet, but they're the risks you take when you got 2 dogs. You've got to do it, otherwise they just go mad. But today, completely different. So, just want to show you what I've got in today. First up, an Astra H, same as Holly's. Again, it's strange how many designs I'm getting in. The Vectras, Astras, the whole lot. Again, this is a car that I actually partly owned, but I sold on for somebody, to my friend Luke. This is a bit of a strange one. It's the 1900 CDTI, which you don't see many of. Unfortunately, it has got the M32 gearbox, what I told you about. Some work okay, others don't, but this one seems to be absolutely fine, and this is a high mileage car, so whether or not it's been done in the past, who knows. One thing I will say, these do fly along. This is just the 8 valve. Believe it or not, they do the 16 valve 150 brake. This is the 120. I just wanted to show you, on these, the size of the front discs are massive. Holly's is the 1700, has the smaller discs, but the front discs on these 1900 Astras are massive. They're the same as what they use on the Vectras. And I'm telling you one thing, these do stop very well. All we're doing on this is a headlamp bulb. Like I mentioned, they're a right pain. You've got to get the wheel pushed across, cover off, get your hand in, they're right fiddly. I'll switch the light on, I'll show you. They're right fiddly. I don't know how well I can get the camera into here, guys. What you can see in there. But there, it's just a total mess. All the soil and muck and everything gets everywhere. So I've just tested to see if it was working, which it is, before putting everything back together. The old bulb hadn't been put in right. It was pointing in at different angles. So I've put it in correctly into where it should be, using the proper. Again, if you remember, guys, if you're doing a bit of a fiddly, awkward bulb like this, or to be honest, any bulb, pay the bit extra and put an Osram in, original equipment, in the last probably as long as you're going to keep the car, unless you're keeping it long term. You know, like, these really do last ages compared to the cheap shit. I don't deal with them anymore now, which is clear to see for all Osram bulbs. Few Toyota ones, but all Osrams that I use. And look it up. Every new car leaves the factory with either a Philips or an Osram bulb. You'll have heard of those brands. Just keep to what you know. And for a couple of quid difference, it's just a peace of mind, you know you're not going to have bulb failure. So that's that on the Astra. I'll just show you as well, just a bit under the bonnet on it. It is rammed in, it is a bit awkward. The alternators are fun to do on these ones, I'll tell you. But 8 valve, 120 brake, but believe me, a 1900 engine in a car this size, they drive very, very well indeed. I just wanted to show you the mileage on this one, because I think it has got a few miles on. Yeah, 165. Don't know if that's zooming in. 165,000. It's not bad for an Astra, that. Right, now onto this Yeti. Quite a popular car. Some bad engines and good engines. Wait, not many good engines VAG make nowadays. But this is, they do these in the 4-wheel drive spec, which are very, very popular around some rural areas, because believe it or not, they are actually okay off-road. And with them being a nice square boxy shape, they're a usable vehicle. Personally, I think they're okay. I would have an older one with the older breed of engines in them. The newer ones are getting a little bit silly, like this one, for instance. This is a 1.2 turbocharged. Nice in theory. Years down the line, when they're 10, 15, 20-year-old, I don't think they're going to be much good. Just want to show you underneath this one. This one's been wax oiled, and this is what the wax oil looks like. These bottom arms were out on these, a very common problem, so we always coat them, but this has had a full underbody wax oil done to it. It's a lot more hard work to apply, but I must admit the Langer guard is definitely thumbs up to me. But we'll see after a few of these cars that I've done over the winter how they fare up. Like I mentioned, some of these are 4-wheel drive. As you can see there, that's where the drive shaft would go. And obviously they have different rear subframes when they have the diff on. And they are quite a nice setup. Bit awkward at the back end. I think they could simplify things a bit really, but they've just lifted that straight from the Golf. And up to the front, up here you can see the little, I'm just looking up there, it's a tiny little turbocharger. I didn't realise they were so small. And have you seen that manifold up there? Bit of a strange setup, just for all that pressure having to go through, rather than going through what you call a 4-branch manifold, it's all just going into that little pipe. Again, not really perfect, you know, it's not going to stand the test of time, that, like, but, you know, it's anything to get through the emissions for manufacturers these days. The sump was leaking on this, which we've managed to repair with a new seal. Somebody had been heavy-handed and stripped it, so that was done. And up there you can see a nice new man filter. Don't know what's been taken off from previous Perflux. Oh, nothing wrong with Perflux, so I'm not going to criticise that. But I will say the man filters on these are what you get from VW, so that's like original spec. This is what you call the DSG gearbox. You've all heard of it before. It's like a wet clutch system. Quite very good idea, very good box, very nice to drive. But again, prepare for expense if they go wrong, which, trust us, when any of these go wrong, they do. Like our car out here, that one's what you call, that's a dry system. That's a normal manual gearbox with an automated clutch system, which is very good in a way, but the clutch, they're $2,000 for a new clutch in one of them, like clutch pack they call it. These are a wet clutch system. It's more like an automatic gearbox, and they really do drive seamlessly. I'm not going to deny that, but unfortunately when they go wrong as well, which they do. But the main key with these ones, you can't do nothing with that one outside, the dry clutch, other than just try to drive it carefully. But at least with these ones, the wet systems, is just regularly get the DSG oil changed. I must admit, I've never dabbled with one before. Unless somebody really asks us, or I start getting involved in a few lower value cars, it's probably something I wouldn't touch. It's probably something I would just leave to a gearbox specialist place, you know. So yeah, I'll just pause it and I'll quickly show you a few things, what we're doing under the bonnet. Well, actually, while it's at this height, I'll just show you a few bits and bobs. So obviously, since they sit quite high up, they have got a large spring. Pain in the arse to change, I will say. But yeah, nice big uplifted spring, simple enough. Round to the front, this one must have like some kind of winter pack. Remember what I was telling you last week, guys? Headlamp washers. It's got the LED here. So I'm guessing these will be bi-xenons. It's not always. It doesn't always mean that they are. They may just be the standard halogens. But it's strange how it's got the headlamp washers, unless they've just been spec'd as a separate option. We'll have a look. I don't know if it'll have the heated seats. It may or may not. I'm trying to look inside. I can't see. Actually, it looks to have some kind of leather seats inside. And like I said, the suspension at the back, it's all just your average Golf kind of setup, you know. But I'll show you the engine under the bonnet. It's just a little 1.2 4-cylinder. To be honest, me and my dad were both just saying before, it looks exactly the same engine as what I used to see in like Golfs and Polos and Fabias like 10 years ago. I've just whacked the turbo on it. And like, actually what it looks to me is it looks like the 1400 TSI, which is your FSI, sorry, which is your 4-cylinder, and they've just locked a bit of the CCs out of it to reduce it down to the 1200. Because that's what they all make a big fuss about nowadays, the size of the engine. So that's pretty much what I think. That is more or less your 1400 no, it's not the TSI, it's the FSI, which used to be in the Golf Mark 5s. They've whacked a turbo onto it, as you've seen, a tiny little thing, very weak looking setup down there, and that's it. So it is quite a big lump of a car, this, and a little 1.2 engine. Bearing in mind with the pressure of an automatic gearbox, that's why you find just to run an automatic gearbox takes a lot of brake horsepower away from an engine. So don't get us wrong, I bet your drive's absolutely superb. I most certainly wouldn't take that away from it. And I haven't driven it, but I know it probably will. But what I'm saying, 100,000 miles, bit of hard use, bit of tone, stuff like that. These little piddly engines, I personally don't think they're going to stand up to the job. Anyways, what we're on with, this car's in for MOT, and it's in for service. You've seen it's had the oil and filter done. We're going to do these platinum spark plugs in Bosch. Bosch are not my first pick for plugs, mind. I will say filters and that are fine, but I much prefer NGK spark plugs. But they're not available for this one, so it's going to have to be Bosch. Oil filter, we're going to do the air filter. Had a fuel filter, but we've had a look. It doesn't really require that at the miles and the age, so we'll send that back. Plus, it's quite expensive. So yeah, that's what this is in for. And let's just have a quick look inside to see if I was right or wrong. See, there you go. Remember, I'm not always right, so I'm not always 100% confident, but I did tell you with those headlamp washers, I could tell you this car had the winter pack, which it does, because it's got the heated seats, see, at each side on the buttons. Heated seats, headlamp washers, and it'll probably have the heated jets for the screen wash. And again, I can tell you that they're bi-xenons, and why? Because if you have a look on here, you've got your dashboard illumination, and next to that here should be your headlamp leveling. When you've got no headlamp leveling, when it's not there, you know that they're factory bi-xenons, which this will be. Let's have a look. We'll go out and have a look. Yep, see? So it's got, generally as part of the winter pack as well, obviously you get your headlamp washers, a good set of lights like bi-xenons and heated seats, and probably heated washer jets, but you can't see because they're inside of the bonnet. But one thing I will tell you, in there it looks like there's wires as well as a tube. So yeah, probably heated washer jets. We will have a headlamp washer moment later, but we need to change the plugs and strip everything down, so I don't want to get all the front of the car wet. But we will. We'll try, but I do know a lot of these newer Vargs mean you've got to be driving. So we'll see. I'll come back to you once we've got a few bits stripped off. Right guys, I just wanted to show you this. Definitely thumbs up to Varg for the last few newer vehicles I've worked on, making the most awkward possible air filter housings for no reason whatsoever. Anyways, I'll show you what I've been doing. Had to remove all the airbox off. There's been boost pipes, intake pipes, all of this off at the scuttle. I'll show you what's over there. And obviously the coils are out. I always keep these in order. Do not just take them all out and just chuck them in a pile over there. Put them in order. There's no real theory to this other than just put the same coil back onto the same cylinder. Just in case. There's no point in making things hard work for yourself. Make it easy. Put them in order. Took the plugs out. And to be quite honest, I'm pleased we did, because there's a new one. I don't know how well you can see this. Forget the bits of oil, little bits of oil do seep down over the years. But these are incredibly burnt out. If you look at I don't know how well that'll zoom in. Let's have a look, see if it will. Probably won't. I'll have to put them on a flat surface like this and you'll see better. If you can see the tip on the new one, there's nothing left of those ones. So this has really been desperate for these plugs. Again, another thing I will say, sticking turbos onto tiny little CC engines, 1200 engine in such big cars, that just shows you when spark plugs burn out like that, it's not because of any other reason other than the engine is working hard. This guy does not drive hard. Simple as that. It's just the engines, even under normal driving conditions, big car, automatic gearbox, extra strain, on a tiny little 1200 turbocharged engine, the engines are being pushed to the max, even just when they're being used sensibly. Hence, these spark plugs, I don't think this car's got that many miles on, 60,000 miles, and they will have been changed before that. Shouldn't be burning plugs out like that. And that's what I'm just saying. 10, 15, 20 years time, these things are just going to be toast, ready for scrap. So hang on to your old cars, guys. Hang on to your old cars like what I've got. The old A6s, these old Astras, whatever. Hang on to your old stuff. If you do happen to get a new car and you've got storage, if you're lucky enough to have a farm or live in the countryside with space or whatever, rather than scrapping your old car for a couple of £100, if it's not knackered, trust us, mark me words, if you can, if you're lucky enough to have a barn or something, park it away. Park it away. Don't just leave it sitting to rot. Turn it over regular. If you can, try and keep it on the road, because honestly, in the next 10, 15 years, older cars, if they're allowed on the road, will be massively desirable. When you can't get a hold, all these things are just going to be knackered or worth more to repair than what the car's worth. And trust us, I know so many people sit back and go, oh, I wish I hadn't scrapped me T5 Volvo or me D5 Volvo. I wish I hadn't scrapped me Saab years ago. Keep them. For getting a couple £100, if you've got the space, hang on to them. And like I said, doing the plugs, and this air filter box is an absolute disgrace. You might think that doesn't look too dirty, but the guy has got no history with the car, and he said just change it. And the hassle we've had with this to get it apart, it's stupid not to. But it is quite, when you compare it to the new one, there is obviously still a lot of debris in there. But what a carry on with this. So obviously, when this is together, again, I just want to show you, by the way, Man Hummel, make this box. Man Hummel filters we use. In this case, it's a Bosch, yes, because I was not in stock, but Bosch, as you know, nothing wrong with them. This, when it was on, like this, there was 2 clips on it. Let's have a look, let's get it the right way, like that. They're 4 clips. These clips here, so you're pulling on at the clips, we don't howk on with nothing. Thinking, well, why is it not coming away? And to get this off, you've got to take sensors off, boost pipes off, the intake pipe, there's another one, and here they had 2 hidden little screws in the bottom, which they've got to the extent of cutting 2 holes in the air filter for. Now, why in God's name didn't they not just put the 2 holes in the top? Or, I don't know, what, it's just, I must say, the last few VAG vehicles, this thing hanging down there, it's took ages to what it should have had to have took. Absolutely ages. There's a pipe goes to here, there's the pipe goes to the intake, there's this one had to come off, there's the other one which goes around to it. Just completely unnecessary. A complete farce for nothing. There's no purpose whatsoever to why that had to be designed like that. So anyways, we're going to get this put back together, the new air filter and new plugs, and this guy, the miles he does for the next 3 years or so, will never need to touch that air filter or the spark plugs. It'll just be oil and filter changes. So we'll leave that there. I've just had this drop. I'm taking the Astra back and bringing the S-Type. So like I mentioned last week on the video, we've got the locksmith coming tomorrow to fit the new Ford. It says Jaguar, but it's a complete Ford part ignition switch. Hopefully we'll get the bottom of that. So my plan is, this guy lives near the guy with the Jag, so I'm going to run up with this shortly. He's going to then run me, instead of back to the garage, to that guy's house with the Jag and bring the Jag back here. So the next video you'll see, the Jag will be done. And also I've just had this course I dropped off from two people I don't know. They're just new customers. Just dropped the key in. They've had supposedly a reconditioned engine. It's the 12 or a 1400 petrol. Probably see on the back. Probably a 1200. Let's see. Yeah, 1200. This is a car Holly used to have, my partner. When I first met her, she sold it, and that paid for the deposit for her to move into the house. What we're in now. Like I was just talking about mortgages yesterday. Or Tuesday, just thought I'd put that into the equation. Thanks to a car like this, which was new at the time, that got her onto the property market. So, anyways, it's overheating, boiling over. They've said that they've had a reconditioned engine put in it, so God only knows. And there's water. They've filled the coolant up and it's going down. So I'll do a quick video later on, once I get these cars switched round and finished, and we'll just top the coolant up, run it, and just have a look and see where anything's leaking, or if there's nothing leaking, it's going into the engine. I've been wanting to get a sniff test out to check for head gaskets when they're gone, but they're quite expensive to how often you would use them. But anyways, that'll come later on. I'll catch you soon, guys. Hello, guys, and welcome. And as you can see, I'm sat in a very comfortable, very nice car. Any guesses what it is? You'll all know what it is because it's in to get the steering lock sorted, the steering switch sorted. I just wanted to show you a few of the perks of the job. Obviously, I've just had that Astra in for the bulb, and I've just took it to the guy, and he's dropped me off to this guy's house where I've picked the S-Type up from. So clearly, I get to have a nice drive in a nice, comfortable vehicle, but at the same time, we'll hop out, and I'll just show you that it's not all bad, it's not all work. Sort of a sky, but basically they're the houses that the guy lives in. I've just brought the car around here. I need to make a couple of phone calls and have 5 minutes. And what more, and by the way, I'm not switching the engine off in case it doesn't start. But what more can you want? Look at that countryside. Just nice. I used to come down here all the time as a kid. The steppy stone that's called Humford. Let's focus on the car though. Absolutely great. I just wish that the guy's son would look after it. I really want this car. I really want to give it the life it deserves. It's completely rust free. T-Reg 1999. Just purring away there. It's even got a detachable tow bar. I would love to have this car in my life. Cheap tax as well, being a T-Reg. In fact, I would even like them to leave them private plates on too, which you won't. You know, it's lovely with the sunroof and the folding blind at the back. Yeah, just nice. Just thought I'd show you that. Just like I was talking about at the beginning of the week, it's about having an enjoyable job. It's making money, spend a little bit of time that I shouldn't be doing now. In fact, what I am going to do now, I've got this envelope on here. It's an invoice to drop off to the Grandland X guy that I did the land garden on last week. So I'll drop that off to his house. I've got permission of this guy because this car it's been sat all week stop starting, so it actually needs a run to recharge the batteries up a little bit. Battery, but it's one very big battery. So I'm going to drop that off. I'm going to call the Subway because I'm absolutely starving. Get my dinners, take it back to the garage, crack on, there's that course that I look at, and there's another car coming in, and maybe start stripping this down to help out the auto locksmith who's coming tomorrow morning to do this. Yes, we can tackle this, guys, but he deals with these day in, day out. He does a very fair price for us. We can make a little bit of money. He makes money. Everybody's happy, and a good job's done at the end of the day. So yeah, just wanted to reiterate the point of waking up in the morning and having a nice job. Yeah, I don't get paid a fortune, pays the bills, but if you're happy, that means everything. You know, I just don't know what your guys' opinion are of that. I think it's always important to be happy within your job. So yeah, I'll just leave you with that lovely sound of that 3 litre V6 S-Type. One day, maybe, we'll get that on the channel, and I'll catch you when I'm back at the garage, guys. Right, guys, welcome back to the garage. I'm just going to quickly show you a couple of things, what's in. Got this Corsa, no idea what my dad's been doing with it. I'll have to give you an update with that shortly. Got my Subway, so I'm keen to eat that. Just wanted to show you this Skoda. Now it's finished, obviously off the lift. Little Yetis, I think they're a good car. Definitely a good usable sized car. Just a shame that VAG's new range of engines are pretty poor at best. I love the back doors, how massive these are. Really good idea for getting kids and stuff in. Such a big opening. Really, really like that. Rear ventilation, nice to see. In the back here, huge, massive boot. Not a massive up, you know, to get dogs in and stuff. 12 volt output. You know what it is? I suppose if the engines are still usable in years to come, I'd have one of these for cheap. Definitely think I would. I like them far better than anything that Volkswagen or Audi do. definitely do like the Skoda Yeti. I will say the actual physical vehicle itself, I like it, but what they call this, like the 4-wheel drive ones, are a nightmare to do the EGR valves on the diesels, but you can get those mapped out and forget about them. So I'll probably, I suppose, have a 2-litre diesel one if it was well sorted out and cheap, but it's got the full leather in. As you can see, and I've already showed you, it's got the upgraded xenon headlights, which must have been part of the winter pack. I don't know if this one will work, but we'll try for a headlamp washer moment. But I just want to show you in here, obviously the DSG, fantastic 7-speed, or maybe an 8-speed automatic. You've got all your tyre pressure monitoring, heated seats like I've mentioned, full leather seats. You can get these with glass roofs and all sorts. I think this is a lovely spec, to be quite honest. Automatic, everything I like about this car, just I'm not keen of a 1.2 little piss pot kind of engine really, but that's the way cars come now. I definitely want at least a 2-litre or a 1.8 or something in one of these, but we'll see if we can have a headlamp washer moment. If we can't, we've got to back up over there. So we've got the lights on, give it a pull, there we go, as we're getting covered. And like I've mentioned, they need to be part of checked for an MOT anyways, so no, I'm not wasting water for no reason, because they need done anyways. Give it one more try, probably won't do it on a double cycle, which I didn't think it would. So ignition off, ignition back on again, lights back on again, stand back. There we go. And I can program those in onto your usual kind of VCDS. I can get them to do once, twice, 3 times, none at all. You can adapt all them, but they do need checked for the MOT. And like I said, it gives a good covering of water, clears the light nicely. I just find them as cool little features. Definitely a cool feature to have. And obviously, we've got the S-Type as well. Why not? We'll give it a go twice. This car's up the eyes, it hasn't been washed or nothing. And I'm going to actually top up and check David's levels on the vehicle anyway. So same thing with this applies, but I don't think this one actually does it for as long as that one to get to the car. We'll give it a blast. There we go. Oh, that gives 2 bursts. There we go. It's a little bit of light entertainment. The reason I'm leaving this car running in case it doesn't start, I'm going to put it in the garage. I don't fancy pushing a 2-ton car into the garage, probably more than 2 ton. So there we go, guys. I'm going to reset the service light on the Skoda. I'm going to get the Jaguar put where it needs to be for getting the key done. And the Corsa, I don't know, but one thing I have is, have you seen how low that back wheel is at the left compared to what it is at the right? I don't know if you can pick that up with the shadow. There's something not right there. Something seriously not right. Probably somebody's not fitted a lowered suspension spring to it because it's a limited edition one. I'll catch you soon when I know more about the Corsa. Right, doing a bit more filming than what I expected today. This Corsa, I just want to show you the dangers of buying cars off, well, supposedly doorstep traders. I have my suspicions, I know who've been involved with this, but I'm not going to say no names. So, this car, this nice couple bought, I'll just swing it round. Nice little Corsa SXI. Personally, I was calling this the limited edition one. It's the SXI. So it's got all this body kit on, which I'm not quite sure is factory, if somebody's just stuck the limited edition one on. It doesn't even have air conditioning. You probably can't see that switch above the heating dials. No aircon, but yet it's got cruise control. Strange one. But anyways, again, remember what I always tell you is about number plates. S, Scotland, beware, corrosion. These are, everybody will know about the subframes on this. I haven't even looked at that yet. But first up, you've already seen the fact that somebody has fitted that left wheel is much further down than the right, because the fitted, you can see it's actually a newer shocker. This being the SXI, you'll have sport suspension. So what somebody's done is fitted the wrong shocker. They fitted a shocker from a standard Corsa instead of the sport suspension. So straight up, that's a alarming sign. Second of all, this, and when you look down there, there's some nasty bodgery gone on. Maybe you might just think to stick this on. It's kind of what I was thinking. The usual rust bits on these, lots of white overspray around here. Hello, overspray again. So it's had a bit of an interesting past, this car. Front tyres, not the best. This one's almost on the limits of 1.6 mil, as you can see there. It's had new shockers and stuff on the front, probably not the right ones either. It's supposedly had a reconditioned engine, but I'm not seeing a lot of items that look like they've been repaired, removed, replaced. So who knows? Look at that corrosion down there on the chassis leg. Not the best. Yeah, so this has obviously been boiling over and overheating. You can probably see the state of that tank. It's getting very discoloured. As you know, I've just done the mocker. A lot of leaking around the centre bit. And from underneath, there's been no more water leaking out of this. And this overflow goes straight down. We found a tiny little leak on the water pump, but nowhere near. It's just more like a weep, like what's around this thermostat housing. So there's a little bit of water leaking also on there, on that thermostat. I'll need to look into that actually. And we'll have to just see how that goes, because I don't know if it's been running out from here or spraying all over the place. It's one of those things. I think this engine's been sort of supposedly overhauled, which I don't believe, or changed, which I'm not quite sure I believe either. I think it's been messed about with by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, to put it frank. But anyways, we'll take the car up. Yeah, I'll just quickly show you under here. I mean, it's relatively oil leak free for one of these. That's not much, but that's up there under the water pump, a little bit of leakage. I think that's just because it's been running such hot and dry. God knows if they've knocked the engine. It's been running for quite a while, and it's not seeming to boil over. That's just stationary. But these subframes on these are renowned for going through. But when you look at the level of corrosion on this car and the state of that tyre on the inner edge, and that one's mainly just across the whole tyre, and it's getting really thin up there. These are based on a Fiat Punto, by the way, people. And in there's where they like to go, in that, just in between the wishbone arm. And I think if you were to prod, which I'm not going to, it would be gone. And look at the state of those wishbone arms. It's not in a very good way. It's okay, but not what you expect a template car. If you look over at this side of how it should look, to this side, and no, we didn't do that. We had it further back and it started crunching. And somebody's done some kind of bodgery, and when you look above that, it's not even attached. It's not even welding. That sill's completely gone. When you get a look underneath in there, it's well gone. And all this, I know it's just an under tray, but somebody just hasn't bothered. It's got a new exhaust on, so good times. The back axle on these aren't actually that bad, and that's that suspect shocker. If you look, it's actually that high. The spring is not making contact with the body. I know it's jacked up, but it's that big, the shocker, to what it should be, like this one, a shorter one. You can see that spring's nicely up against the body. That one, you probably can see the light at the other side shining through, which you can. So yeah, quite bad bits of corrosion up there in the chassis. I mean, it's just like I keep telling you what to look out for. And it's not all cars up Scotland way, but this one in particular is not good. And there, underneath, is the leaking from the bottom of the coolant bottle. There is various leaks all over the place, like the thermostat housing, a little bit on the water pump, but I think the bottle is the main source of the leak. So put a leak sealer in, a special Norfest one that isn't all full of that, what I call like grit and crap. In fact, I'll see if I've got one in the cabinet to show you. This is it here, rad seal. Inside is just pure liquid, no grit, no gravel, a tiny little bit of UV glitter, yes, glitter, so that if you have a leak, you can shine a UV torch, which we've got, and you can detect any leaks. But it's just a pure liquid. Nothing in there like what's in those K-seals, or whatever you call it, which looks to me like sand, grit, iron filings, and God knows what. You don't want to ever put that crap into your engine. So yeah, we'll leave that there. I'll get this tank stripped off, some new coolant in, the sealer in, we'll let it run, and it's just gonna have to play it by ear. But this car is in a bit of a state. I've already told the guy, he's bought it not long ago off a trader who's supposedly took it back off them, put a new engine in. The poor people have just been ripped off. They're genuine people, and it makes me sick why there's people out there who can't just do an honest deal. Why they've got to be so bloody, obscure about stuff, and it does my head in. Which, to be honest, I would never want to be in a used car sales. Even when you're a fair person, you'll still get a whole load of hassle at your doorstep. So anyways, we'll leave it there. I'll show you once I've got it stripped down and built back up again. Just a quick video at the end of the day. It's nearly 5 o'clock. It's almost dark. Not used to this. It makes it difficult for recording. So I'll just show you. I've done various things with this. The oil was a litre low. The oil's been topped up. The tyre pressures were all more or less flat, which I've also done. And the front tyres are knackered anyway. I still topped them up. New cap, new coolant tank. And for now, it ain't been leaking. Like I've said, I've put the sealer in, which I hope it'll stop some of these areas leaking. It's obviously been getting very hot and I think damaged some of the seals. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But that's been running for ages now and it's perfectly fine. Just wanted to show you the findings of the old one, which the thing is, we're not going to be able to contact this customer directly. So unfortunately, I was just having to just leave it like along the lines of just showing them via some pen. Unfortunately, it's getting wet while it's been in the bag. Obviously, we wrote on leak, but around there is a crack. I don't know if you can see that black line under the pen. When it's dry, you can see it clear as day, and that's obviously where it was leaking out, and that's sure enough the area where it was leaking. So they're not a great amount of money. I have in the kindest possible terms explained to the guy it's probably time to get rid. It's really not a good car that you've getting. Hopefully that'll be enough just to get him through and he can make up his mind what he does with it. But put it one way, it's a lot better than what it came in as. So yeah, we'll leave it there. That's that pretty much sorted. It's you can see how much time. Oh, and I've did the code scan for the engine management, and sure enough, that's coming up as catalytic converter below threshold, so the cap on it's basically knackered, and something about the coolant flow being low, obviously, because it was leaked out all the coolant. So I'll leave it there, guys. I'll catch you tomorrow on Friday's vlog. Right, guys, another glorious day. Welcome to Friday's vlog. First frost of the so-called winter this morning. It barely was a frost. We're still out spreading the salt on the roads, which I'm annoyed at because my new project that I'm collecting on Sunday is, I'm not going to say too much about it. The first thing I want to do once I've got it to the garage next week is get the Lango guard put underneath. And the car's currently being used, so I'm a little bit, I wish I'd gotten it earlier. I wish I could have gotten it earlier, but I can't due to the guy who's got it. So just so you know, I'm going to try and get these two videos as best as I can out tonight, so part 1 and part 2. And then on Sunday, we're doing a collection caper. I'll fill these in when it actually happens. Today I'm going to make it quite short so I can crack on getting these videos rendered, uploaded, all the rest of it. So, what we're doing today, not a great deal because we're getting on top of all the work this week. Got my friend Stephen's dad's A6 in diesel. You've seen this in a couple of weeks ago for service. Nothing more to say about it really, just in for MOT. And it's pretty much like a new car underneath. We've checked it over. One little heat shield underneath was loose, which we repaired. But it's just a typical A6, probably the DSG one, because I know that Stephen and his dad like the automatics. Yeah, leather seats and everything, very nice. So anyways, that's enough about that. So I just want to come through and show you the S-Type of what we've got going on with that. So I've had the locksmith out this morning, Lee from CC Locksmiths. Anybody needs anything done with keys or anything, see me, or I'll send you a link to his company. He's spot on. So he's been in and fitted. He had done it before I even got in this morning, to be honest. Fitted the new ignition switch. Nothing to see there. Nothing looks different whatsoever. Unfortunately, though, upon the first few times of trying it, it played up. But I'm hoping this has just been a glitch in the system, because I'll show you exactly what's been changed. So, here's your Jaguar part number, as you can see. And there is your ignition switch. I don't know if you can see that in the daylight. All them little pins inside. And nicely written on the back, Ford, as we know. And then there's the Ford part number. Nothing Jaguar whatsoever on that. But what we're looking at here now is when you're putting the key in, which I'll go and just show you now, and then I'll show you better on that. So what you do is you hit this little dust shield just there, and it moves the seat, well, the steering wheel. See how it's coming out? Then you move it back out. But when you put the key fully in, like that, it makes that little electronic noise, and when it doesn't make that electronic noise, which is the steering column lock, the car refuses to start. Now what's happening when you're putting that key in there, obviously you're going through the barrel of the lock, and it reaches this point here, and if you look inside of there, there's a little button just in the bottom. So if I put that on there, it's a bit difficult when I'm trying to do this one-handed. So the minute you put the key into there, what you're doing is, I don't know how well this is working in the sunlight. I'll try and do it over here. Lovely day, definitely not complaining. So you can see that little button in there. So when I put the key in, it's pushing that little button. And when you push that button is what causes the steering lock to unlock. So when you press that, it reads the reader, reads the chip in the key, and then you just twist it. Obviously, it's just twisting on the thing there, because there, see, it's turning. And that's just the ignition to start it. So you're going through the barrel. Obviously, this is twisting on this surface. Only way I can properly show you it, I'll just put it in the vise very gently. So there we go. I've just put it in gently. It's going in the bin anyway. But so you put it in. There's the little button. So it presses the button, as you can see. That's pressing the button in. Then you turn the ignition, as so. See how it's obviously twisting it? So until that button is pressed, see, I knew it would fall on the floor. So until that button is pressed, that's what causes that electronic noise, which is the steering column unlocking. And then obviously that's the point it reads the code in the key. The reader on the ignition barrel reads the code in the key, the chip, and starts the vehicle. So fingers crossed, since he had fitted that, as you can see, it's under the car, so I can't bloody show you now. What the problem is maybe when he's fitted it, there's quite a lot of connections on it. Maybe it's just not reading. Another absolute moron just having to go by there. Again, 30 mile an hour. I know who the guy is. He's got young kids running around here. He finds it perfectly acceptable to race past the school in a 20 mile an hour zone at over 40, 50 mile an hour in a 20. Again, I can't understand these people. The mentality of them blows my mind. It really does. That's their own kids and their own family, where they live, their estate. Why would you want to do that on your own doorstep? Mental idiots. Outright mental idiots. But anyways, that's what I'm thinking. Since it's such a complex unit, I wish I'm not getting down on my hands and knees under there. There's at least 10, 15 little connections on that. I'm just wondering, when he's first fitted it in, that's caused the fault. So hopefully we'll send it back. I'm going to drive it back up now there to where I picked it up yesterday, and he's just going to have to try it. If not, I think Lee's going to go to a scrapyard and get a whole new ignition column. If it isn't that, we're going to have to go along the lines and get the motor from Jag, the new ignition lock, which again, he thinks it's programmed into that. I don't know what they call the system, some PAT system or something. I could be totally wrong. I think that's Nissan. But anyways, that's how far we are. Today, I might record it if there's not people around. I'm going to go up. I've got me in my pocket. I've got me trusty 10mm spanner. And I'm going to go up and check on the old girl, the ML. It's been up in storage now for a month, and I've left the solar charger on the dashboard, because I do know that car does not like standing for much more than 2 or 3 weeks without being started. So I'm going to go up there and see if it's absolutely flat as a pancake, or if the solar charger is managing to keep the battery afloat. And if it is, we'll see if it starts. If it does start, I'll probably let it idle for 20 minutes, half an hour, shut it all back off again, and go back in another couple of month or so and check. If it is flat, I've got a bit of a problem, because the battery weighs a bloody ton. I don't fancy howking the thing out to take it all the way back to our garage. I might just ask John if I could borrow his electric. You know, I'll give him a bit of money or something, and just stick it on a trickle charge overnight, and come back and disconnect everything off. But I don't like asking too much from people, really. So we'll leave it there. I'll come back to you if I can film when I'm looking at the ML. Right guys, I was going to go over to try the Mercedes, the ML. I was going to put it on film, but the guy who I have it parked in his yard, he does recovery work as well as running a garage, so he's in and out. And I rang him and he says, not till 3 o'clock, he'll be back at 3 to go over then. But by then I've got to pick my son up, and what I've got a spare hour now. I'm at home actually. I'm going to quickly get this video edited and get it uploaded while I've got good Wi-Fi here at home, so I can actually try and get both of the videos ready, part 1 and part 2 to upload. So unfortunately, sorry guys, I can't fit that one in. Otherwise it's going to be 5, 6 o'clock when I've got the kids to deal with. I'll be sitting trying to edit videos, so I'll have to miss that bit out. But remember, on Sunday I'm going to do a full video of a car collection caper. I'm going to try and not give the guy too much of a time so he's standing at the door. I'll show you, mate. I'm going to keep it surprise. It's I'm going to start it from beginning to end and make it more of, because I'm making it more of a day out. Charlie's going to be with us, just me and him, a day out car collection caper. So I don't mind missing this little bit out for the ML, because to be honest, if I do try it and it doesn't start, I want to crack on and get it done rather than faffing on with the video. So thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it this week. Sorry it's been a bit hit and miss. It's been busy. As you know, it's hard trying to get it all in. But please do remember, guys, I do a lot more updates and a lot more regular feedback on Facebook. Please, if you watch this, type into Facebook, Car Addict Garage Northeast. The page is there. Hit the like or follow or whatever you do with that. And if you want to send any private messages to us, you can. If you want to write any stuff on, I do often put more pictures on there to keep up to date. I know a lot of you don't use Facebook. I respect that. But if you do, head over to that. I don't use none of the other stuff. It's too much of a faff. But have a look on there. And remember, if you look on the link to me pages, I've got the Buy Me a Coffee. If anybody wishes to just donate a couple of quid to the channel, exactly what it's called, to buy a coffee, a sandwich, whatever, feel free. I don't know if anyone's used it yet. I'm not 100% sure. Give it a try, see how it works. If you feel the need to. If you don't, perfectly fine. And again, I also want to reiterate what I'm putting on the description on each of my channels every week. People, please do not hang on my every single word. I'm trying to run a garage. I've run a busy lifestyle. I've got various projects on the go. I ain't no expert. This is the phone. My other hand is holding it. I don't use a gimbal. I don't use a selfie stick. I don't use a tripod. I use my mobile phone, and my arm is a selfie stick to do all this. I do mix the odd few words up. When I watch my videos back, I'll say an electric mirror instead of an electric window. I've called the Honda a Toyota CHR, a CRV, blah blah blah. I have a few people a few people said that the camera's not very stable and stuff. I know that. I don't need you to tell us that. Until the channel starts to pay me wages, which it doesn't, then I'll start spending my money. At the minute, my phone is used as a phone. It doesn't cost us any money. I think I spend enough on projects to keep content coming. It is my hobby to do it, but a lot of the time I am very much swung towards buying different vehicles to keep content coming for you guys. Clearly it's for my own sake, but at times I would probably just sit there and go, do you know what it is? I'm happy with these cars for a few months. And if I did that, there'll be no content. There is a few times when I'm at work and I think, do you know what it is? I'm sick of keep pulling this bloody phone out. I want to crack on and get on with it. I'm doing it for yous. I know that a lot of yous enjoy watching it. So like I've said, just a few people when they make comments of, it's not called this, or isn't that, or that's not how it worked, or somebody mentioned like you didn't put, what was it? You missed doing something on that. It's like, yeah, maybe on the video I did, but not everything's on the video. I always double check things afterwards. So yeah, like I've said, don't hang on me every single word. I am an amateur YouTuber. My job is a mechanic. My job is cars, things like that, not this. And like I've said, sometimes I mix my words up. Sometimes I call things the wrong thing. It's just an accident, guys. I'm only human. I can't help it. So anyways, catch you on next week's vlog. I will be getting this one done. I have got the Safari Park one ready to upload as well. So I'll catch you all next week. And thanks for watching. If you haven't already done so, hit the like. Really important, hit the like. Leave a comment. If you haven't already done so, hit subscribe. It's free of charge. Catch you next time.